Check, check, check. Check-a-lo, check-a-lo. Hopefully that's not the first thing you see when you hop into the show. Check, check, check. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the show, everybody. Oop, gotta fix my microphone here. Listen, it is Sunday, February 27th, 2022. I believe this is the first time I've ever done a show on a Sunday. I haven't done a show in a couple weeks. I was gonna do a show this week, but it didn't feel right when everything from Ukraine's happening. So I've had a lot of people message me, so I decided to just hop on here real quick and just talk about a little bit about what's going on in Ukraine. So just disclaimer, I'm no expert in geopolitics or even war politics or whatever you want to call it. I'm not necessarily an expert in this field, but I did pull up some articles and I did listen to somebody from Ukraine who's a citizen in Ukraine in Kyiv. He's actually a comedian in Ukraine. Talk on Tim Dillon's podcast today. If you want to check out Tim Dillon's podcast, its most recent episode, just to be clear, Tim Dillon is a comedian. He has a podcast, and on Spotify, it's a Tim Dillon show. It is not like mine, where meaning the content is a lot more explicit. Just a disclaimer. But I do like his show. I think he's funny. And he had a Ukraine citizen come on and just talk about what they're doing. And it kind of confirmed what we're hearing in the news, some stuff we're hearing in the news about the Ukrainians standing up to fight. And I just feel like I just needed to share some stuff with you guys. So currently it's Sunday, February 27th. Russia started the invasion of Ukraine with actual troops crossing the border is what I mean. Earlier this week, it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. Kind of can't remember off the top of my head. And we're about 5 to 6 days in, and Ukraine and Kyiv is still holding strong. I feel like this needs to be on display for a lot of people in America to show that you can stand up against a larger foe. And I think that, in a way, Ukrainians are showing an element of American spirit to where they're standing up against an enemy much larger than theirs, much like we did, or Americans did in the 1700s against Britain. And I did not think that they would last to the end of the week, if I'm being 100% honest. I was wrong. But, and it's not just that Ukraine hasn't fully fallen yet. It's that they're also been managing to shoot down Russian planes, which is a huge deal. I have a clip that I'll show of a helicopter being shot down as well, and I believe it's an Mi-24. I have it on YouTube. I'll play muted clips so I don't get it pulled. But before we keep going, I just want to thank you guys for jumping in the show. Make sure if you're listening to this right now, that means you missed us more live. That's okay. Just make sure you follow us on JJ's live show on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, where you, the audience, can get in on the action. Comment section's open. I can read the chat. So I first want to talk about this Ukrainian president, and then also, I guess, the mayor Kyiv. I don't, if I'm not pronouncing it right, it's because I'm doing all this by reading. I haven't listened to a lot of things. I think it's Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. That there's a lot of fighting going on. The Ukrainian president Zelensky, just before we continue, so everybody's clear, I am not necessarily pro Ukraine. I don't really know a whole lot of specifics, but Ukraine has been a bit of a corrupt government for a while. I'm not 100% saying that Russia's in the right or in the wrong. And well, Russia's kind of in the wrong because it is an unprovoked attack on a sovereign nation. This is the largest invasion of a sovereign nation since World War II. And the thing is that I am more concerned about the civilians and their way of life, and they didn't choose this war. And however, I will hand it to President Zelensky, Ukraine's President Zelensky, and the mayor of Kyiv. I keep saying Kyiv, I think it's Kyiv. Standing and fighting and showing true leadership and a fighter-leader concept for its citizens of Ukraine. So Kyiv isn't a military veteran. He's actually a comedian and actor who was elected and president of Ukraine. I don't remember when he was elected, but I have an article here. I'll just pull it up, and if you guys want to skim it while I'm going through it, we can. I'm not gonna read this article word for word, but just ignore this clip right here. It's an ad. It's really impressive to me the amount of fight that the Ukrainians have versus a military much larger than them. Ukraine has a population of about 44 million, I believe, and their military is significantly smaller. The bad thing about what Zelensky did leading up to this is he did down, as you can read right in the article, is he did downplay Russia crossing the Ukraine before it kind of started, and I don't know. Including myself, I think a lot of people thought Putin was kind of bluffing until, I mean, obviously he did it. But you can see here's clips of him with people amongst the citizens in Ukraine. He was offered, I think America, or maybe it was the UN, offered him the ability to escape. And he said, no, I need ammunition. I don't need a ride. And I think that speaks volumes to the type of leader he is. Even though he was not a career politician, he was kind of in a way voted like Trump is, where he was voted in based on popularity rather than his ability or career as a politician. So Zelensky is kind of showing some heroism here. And then also the mayor of Kyiv, it's hard for me to say his name, Vitaly Klitschko. He is a Hall of Fame boxer, it says it right here. Again, this is all me like just gathering information to help update everybody, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of the spirit of this and how America can kind of take some lessons or some notes from this, right? So also the mayor of Kyiv, which is the capital that a lot of fighting is happening, he is native to Ukraine, obviously, and he, as a professional athlete, he already had influence, and now he is also staying back to fight against Russia, arm in arm with citizens. And then here's some clips. You see pictures of most recent. This is the most recent one I have. This is updated yesterday. There has been reports. I don't want to say this because I don't want people to think that it is 100% accurate. I do know that at least 5 jets, the MiG-29s, I think, is what the Russian jets have been shot down by Ukrainian jets, and they're all giving credit to one pilot. And they're nicknaming him the Ghost Kyiv. I don't know how accurate that is, that it's all one pilot. I'm going to credit right now until I get further information the Ukrainian, I don't know if it's their Air Force or Defense Force, whatever they call it, but they're pilots for being able to shoot down the MiG-29s. I believe the Russian jets are superior to the Ukrainian jets. I haven't done a whole lot of research, but off the top of my head, I believe the Russian planes are more advanced than the Ukrainian planes. And I think the last report I saw is 5 or 6 Russian jets have been shot down. And for those who do not know how big of a deal that is Russia's most elite fighting jets are being shot down, and that's 6 of them. That's a pretty big deal. That's a significant amount of jets lost. And then in this clip, I'm just going to play it in the background. This is a video taken by a citizen in a village outside of Kyiv of I don't know, it's an Mi-24 Hind helicopter, which is their fighting helicopter. It is heavily armored. It is a very difficult helicopter to take down. They nickname it a flying tank, as you can see here. It has a heavy armament, it has a heavy like munitions, that kind of thing. And I don't know if one's ever been shot down off the top of my head. I do remember learning a little bit about their helicopter when I was in the military, but I'm gonna make this bigger. You can see outside the village of Kyiv, it's been shot down by a Ukrainian anti-air missile. So Ukrainians are putting up a heck of a fight. What's impressive to me is the amount of civilians that have zero. I forgot to put the screen. Here's the screen for you guys. What's impressive to me, this is the helicopter being shot down. Sorry, I didn't have it up on the screen. Here, you guys can see it now. What's impressive to me is the amount of civilians who have never taken up arms before standing up to fight for their sovereignty. It's a huge deal. Why is that a huge deal? Well, this is going to show, and here I am going to talk about the importance of, oops, I started playing some music. The importance of Americans, like citizens, being armed and not just relying on the military, is that instead of the Russian military coming in to fight the Ukrainians military, all of a sudden, now the entire city has the potential of being armed. So instead of having, granted, they won't all be trained and they will all be like maybe scattered or maybe not well organized, that is still amounts for something. That's the ability for the citizens to be able to protect themselves. That's the ability for the citizens to aid in the fight. And any aid at this point is super crucial. Okay. So now the Russian troops can't just willy-nilly roll their tanks down the street. And based on what the Ukrainian, I'm not going to pull up Tim Dillon's show because it's also on Spotify and I don't want to get in trouble for sharing his content, but you can if you go to Tim Dillon's show, the most recent one, I believe it's it's called Live from Ukraine is his episode, and you go to like the last 20 or 30 minutes, it is with that Ukrainian citizen. I don't remember his name. It's hard to pronounce his name anyways. However, and he was saying that Russian armor tanks and whatnot are also having trouble getting through the streets of Kyiv and just being able to advance. And part of that is because citizens are aiding in the fight. So instead of having, like, imagine this, there's 330 million Americans, right? And instead of, if we got invaded by, Russia, let's just say we got invaded by Russia. Instead of Russia fighting only the military, now there could possibly be 300 million Americans armed. That's just kind of showing you the relation. And just to give you guys some history, I don't want to mispronounce his name. It's the Japanese admiral in charge of the Pacific Fleet for the Japanese Navy during World War II. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I think that would be kind of offensive to mispronounce a Japanese admiral's name. And what up, Mike? Welcome to the show. Where the heck have you been? Man, I've been busy, and I was trying to do an episode. Like I explained earlier in the show, I was trying to do an episode last week, or during the week. But when the whole thing with Ukraine happened, I didn't want to, overstep or nothing. So, hold up, my phone's ringing. So basically, the Japanese admiral of the Japanese Navy in World War II said that he will not attack the mainland of America, which is why they attacked one of the reasons why they attacked Pearl Harbor. Thank you, Mike. Mike. Yeah, I knew it was Yamamoto, but I didn't want to mess up his first name. I'm gonna pronounce it Isrouko Yamamoto, the Japanese admiral. I guess I'm glad we're on the same page. This isn't like a new story for everybody, but he said, in quotes, I'm paraphrasing, there will be a rifle behind every blade of grass if you were to attack mainland America. So you're seeing that's really important for homeland security, right? So we're seeing average and almost all citizens in Ukraine trying to get a hold of guns. Based on what I heard from the gentleman that was on Tim Dillon's podcast, they are having issues actually getting them in their hands, and they need help and they need support and they need donations as well to be able to purchase. I believe the biggest thing right now is they need to purchase armor, small arms, and munitions. So it's a huge, I don't know, stand for Ukraine to be able to arm its citizens. And I think it should show that it's important for citizens of a country to be armed, because it not only helps with their own self-defense of their peers, but it also helps the entire country stay sovereign and protect them from invading forces. Okay. It does change the game for Putin now that the Ukrainian citizens are becoming armed, and we're seeing that the Ukrainians are standing as strong as they can. And also, shout out to Elon Musk for providing Starlink internet within 10 hours. I believe it was the Prime Minister of Ukraine reached out and asked Elon Musk if he could provide Starlink, which is a wireless internet to Ukraine, so Ukrainians can have internet and be able to communicate and get news out and social media and things like that. And I think that's really helping. Elon Musk had it up in 10 hours. So Elon Musk coming in clutch again. Elon Musk is a hero of mine. Mike said in the Facebook chat, great grandpa was killed by a kamikaze in the Pacific in World War II. That's wild. I kind of don't know how to respond to that, to be honest. It's like I'm sorry about your grandpa, but it was like 70 years ago, and thank him for his service. Kamikaze, for those who don't know what a kamikaze is, it was a tactic used by there's essentially a suicide plane, a tactic used by the Japanese during World War II. Just give a shout out to Mike right now for being a constant just a constant supporter of the show, of both shows I've ever done. Thank you, Mike. Okay, continuing on. I think that everybody in the world can take a lesson from what's going on in the Ukraine right now, both as a tactical sense of the importance of keeping citizens armed, and then also showing that there is still a patriotism that is still alive, that can still defend itself against a foe that is way, way larger. Oh, okay, Mike, I see what you're saying. I knew it was Yamamoto, but I could not remember the first name, and even if I did, I didn't want to mispronounce it. So thanks, Mike, for at least typing it out so I could see it without having to Google it and interrupting the show. Appreciate that. Yeah, so there's a thing that happens. This could have went very sour a lot faster. And what I heard the Ukrainian gentleman talk on on Tim Dillon's show, he was also mentioning that they understand that if they don't stand and fight now, although it's really ugly right now, it'll be worse for the next generations to come. And I think we have to like really soak that in, is understanding that fighting now for what, even if it relates to you in your everyday life. I mean, we're comparing what a travesty that's going on in Ukraine right now I'm comparing it to your everyday life. If you fight for what you can now, like whether for Ukraine right now, they're fighting for their country. For you might be fighting for, to better yourself, to, I don't know, be a better person, to fight for what's right in your job, or fight for, I don't know, like politics. I kind of don't know how it's going to relate to you, but it kind of stuck out to me that they're fighting for the next generation, the Ukrainian citizens. And I think that just seeing the spirit of Ukrainians right now could do wonders in America. And I'm not necessarily 100% for Ukraine, as far as like I'm pro Ukraine in the fact that like I would root for Ukraine in other senses. I am rooting for Ukrainian citizens, if that makes sense. I the layers of this conflict is a lot, and I don't really want to start talking about it because I'm also not an expert. I'm not trying to just talk out my ass about something I'm not 100% sure about. But I will tell you that the layers that go into this conflict are super deep. Okay, Putin wants to take Ukraine for a reason, and I'm not sure how much I believe America should get involved. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I don't believe that America should, and we won't, put troops on the ground in Ukraine. That just won't happen. I know there's a lot of jokes right now, especially amongst us who have recently got out of the military, who are still in the inactive ready reserve, that we can get recalled at any point. We're not going to get recalled. Reservists aren't going to get activated. Okay, I say this confidently, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong about. I said a few weeks ago that I think, or I said like about a month ago that Putin's bluffing, but I was wrong. Yeah. So I don't think anybody has to worry about America getting too involved with a full-scale war. However, if Putin does overreach and try to go after Poland or some other NATO country, that's when we have to put our foot down. And if we don't, that'll be detrimental to America and our sovereignty as a country. I do think that China is watching this situation very closely. China recently put some sanctions on Russia as well. They stopped funding one of their banks or something like that. I forgot to pull the article up. So China is somewhat taking actions. I don't know if it's all to save face. I don't know if they really care. But I know for a fact China is watching what's happening right now and how America's reacting. And I think they're taking notes. See, the thing is that we didn't take any affirmative actions to prevent Russia from invading Ukraine. And I don't know if we should have. However, we're showing our belly right now. We're showing our weak leadership in America. I'm not sure that America could have fully prevented this from happening the way it's happening. However, I think that we could have done things to cripple it. We should have not been relying on Russia for oil, for energy. Now energy is going to be expensive. Get ready for gas prices to go up. Gas prices raised, or the prices for barrel for oil rised in 8% in about the first 8 hours of the invasion. Okay. I haven't checked on it since, but I knew it rose 8% in the first 8 hours of the invasion. We rely on a lot of energy from foreign sources. One of those is Russia. Okay. And then now that we put sanctions on Russia, it literally prevents us from trading to get, oil and whatnot. So get ready for prices to rise. And also China helped fund Russia in a way with our money. I'm not going to get too much into that. Just know that America has a part in this. Okay. And the biggest thing for me is that this shows a huge reason why we need to be energy independent, energy supreme. And the thing is that Russia is a big exporter of, I think it's the largest exporter of natural gas, if I'm not mistaken. And they use that to fund this conflict. Doing stuff like this requires money and resources. Without those money and resources, it doesn't happen. So I think this would be a good opportunity for America to go back to being energy independent and energy supreme and start drilling and maybe come up with other ways to get these fossil fuels that are still powering the world, by the way. I know everyone wants cleaner energy or whatever, but it's not where do you think electricity comes from? It comes from burning something. You don't just poop out electricity. And then people are like, well, what about solar and wind? Okay, we're not there yet. We're just not. It's not sustainable. Ideally, we would supplement. And I think in a lot of Texas, we do supplement energy with renewable, such as wind and solar. We're really not in a place to switch everything to electricity because it'll be worse for the environment as of we stand right now. Okay, just so we're clear. Okay. Takeaways from this episode is that Ukraine's putting up a fight. I'll try to keep everybody updated maybe on Facebook. I'll share some links and articles on this Facebook page. So make sure you're following JJ's live show on Facebook. That way you can get some updates, because I have a lot of weird connections and it's nothing like secret or anything. It's just I know the right people. I follow the right accounts, so that I get quite a bit of information, quite a bit of clips, and sometimes I'm able to post a clip before it gets banned, and if I don't, I screen record it and I'll just post it again, because sometimes these clips are a little graphic. Okay. I do stand with Ukrainian citizens. I don't necessarily stand with the government of Ukraine. I don't know how much America is going to get involved other than what American citizens are doing, but I will say, don't let this distract you from what's going on in your home front. Okay? Don't let this distract you from the tyranny that is brewing in America. We're still fighting our own battles here in the States, both politically, sometimes physically, but mostly politically at this moment. And we're on the verge of possibly going down a path that looks very bleak and very dark for Americans. Not just economic, but also with politics and with government. We're on a weird cliff right now, and there's two ways you can go. You can go good, or it can go bad, or it can go really bad. That's kind of where I see right now, either bad or really bad. There are rumors that Donald Trump did kind of announce that he's running for president 2024. I don't know how I feel about that. Again, if you know anything about me, you will know that I'm not like necessarily the biggest Trump guy, although I do liked Trump and sometimes I didn't. It's complicated. All right. It's a love-hate thing. All right. As always, thank you for listening to the show. If you want to support the show, make sure you go to anchor.com/JJ's live show. And also make sure you share it with your friends. All right. That's how we grow the shows, by you sharing it with your friends. I will do my best to keep you guys updated with Ukraine. And if you guys don't want to hear it, then go listen to something else. As of now, that's all I know. That's all I feel. That's all I feel comfortable talking about without having hard data and hard evidence. I don't even want to bring up casualties at this moment, but based on what the Ukrainian man said, the Russians are losing quite a bit of armor, quite a bit of equipment, quite a bit of troops, and the Ukrainian citizens are doing okay. We got quite a bit injured, but not so many losses. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining the show. I can't wait to see you next time. And until then, catch y'all on the flippity flip. Peace. Hook 'em.